Hello, this is Victor. I'm here with a painting tutorial, and this time I will paint on camera my second Shadowseer. You see here, this is the miniature I'm going to paint, and here we have the miniature. As you can see, it's not assembled, I just put some of the pieces. The reason why is that when this leg is in place, it will be behind this piece of cloth. And to have more freedom and make it easier to paint, I prefer to paint them separately. If you have watched my videos, I will not follow the same color scheme of the other Shadowseer. I will go for different color scheme, and yeah, I will do something similar and some other parts very different. So the idea is I will keep doing yellow for these things, but I will do a color transition or color gradient from very light yellow to maybe purple to the bottom. So let's see how we'll go this, and I will do the same transition on all these, and then I will do the diamonds in a very light, in the way that here are going to be very visible and they will fade out when you go up. This is the idea. Let's see how all this is working. The trousers for the legs, I will go with a very deep purple, and the same that I do for doing the lines, and then I will do one with diamonds, one side with diamonds with blue and the other side with diamonds in pink. So I'm just trying to think how I will do all these color schemes. And on the top, I will see. I would like, once I did the legs, I will start thinking how I do the top. Watch out when you cut this out of the sprue. I had an accident this time and this was broken here. Hopefully I can glue this together. It goes to pieces, but this piece was damaged, and then I had to glue this way. It's a little bit bent, but I think it's okay. It's good enough. And then we have the other parts on the sprue. We start here, have the mask. I'm going to use the shuriken pistol this time. And yeah, I have the grenade launcher and the other pieces of cloth. So let's start. And the first thing I will do, I will use Naggaroth Night to paint the legs. So yeah, as always I'll say, try to make thin layers, thin out the paint. It's very important, especially in that small miniatures, because at the end these Shadowseers, these Arlequins are quite small. So it's very important that we do very thin layers, and we want to avoid cover any detail. As you can see, the base was done, is the first part I do, and here is the reason. You see, when you do the base, you're dirtying the miniature, so this is why I do first the base and then I start painting the miniature. I think it's the best approach when you paint. For me, start with the base and then do the miniature later on. If I dirt the base, it's not as important if I dirt on the miniature. So I will do I will paint this Naggaroth purple on the two legs, and I will be back in a minute. So the purple is applied, and now what I'm going to do is I will apply the yellow on these pieces of cloth, and I will start applying first Averland Sunset. This is a base color. You have to be careful because it's quite thick and it's leaving. You have to. Maybe you need to layers, even though it's a base, because you want to avoid to place a thick layer, because if not, will not look great. So I will apply just one layer of this color at this moment, and as you can see, I try to thin it as much as possible, and you can still see the black through the yellow. This is normal. So I will just do one layer of this, and I paint all these parts. As you are seeing, I will paint them before assembling. So I will apply this layer, and I will be back to show you how it's looking like after applying the Averland Sunset. As you can see, this is the first layer of Averland Sunset. I want to show this because now I'm going to do a second layer. This part is dry because I was painting recently this part. So I'm going to do a second layer to make the color more solid. But you can see that it's better to do two layers as you can see here. And even if you have this type of different colors, you will dissimulate this very well with the second layer, and we will work pretty well. So again, 2 layers, let the first layer dry out and do the second layer, and then you will have a very nice yellow, solid yellow painted. Even though can be that even the second layer is not that solid, but it's better to do 2 or 3 layers than making a big thick layer, because if you do thin layers, you will not be able to see the brush strokes later on. So I'm going to do now this second layer, and I will be back once this is done. This is how it's looking like now, the yellow, and now is when I will try to do the color transition. I will start to making the yellow, the very light yellow here at the base, and then I will go from there to try to start going up. I will have to transition through the red and then try to go to purple. So I'm going to start with very light yellow. I will do one by one these stripes. You can see this light yellow is really contrasting to the base color that I put. We're trying to do some big portion because I wanted to be sure that the diamonds that I'm going to paint later on will fade out, will disappear in that area. Now I will start taking the colors one by one and start building up the color, the intensity. So and then what you do is you mix them directly on the part to make the transition. And we have to not forget to the back and the front at the same time to be sure that we are in the same, we do the transitions at the same point. And it's looking like a complete. And here is when you need to use thin. I use water as a thinner in that case because it's faster for me to apply and to apply on the different colors. So as you can see, it's good here, and then here we are going to also go through the light yellow. The yellows normally are tricky and they leave a lot of marks. We go to darker yellow now. I will use so the first one was Dorn Yellow, the second one was Flashgitz Yellow. Now we're using Yriel Yellow. And try to make the transition, even if it's a little bit hard, that is not looking, it's not a straight line. This help you to make the transition softer. Try to avoid straight lines. You can see this yellow even have difficulties to catch on top of another darker yellow. This is going to be always a problem with the yellows. Okay, I will go now to Fire Dragon Orange. Wild Rider Red. Oops. It's going to be a strong transition now, but you can see we will use the previous orange to make it softer. We go back to the previous yellow. Mix it with orange. We will make the transition softer. Then the orange. See that the transition is happening in different points, so we have to balance this. Take water. When you see that the brush strokes are too visible, take water. So and now I will go to quite dark color. This is color that will help transition to purple. It's Screamer Pink, but I think it's more purple than pink. You can see this is really strong transition here. It's just first to know where I'm going to transition to this darker color. And now we are going to use the orange to help here on the transition. This. I'm not applying all the color because I want to have a clear picture of where I want all the purples and different colors. And this is going to be the last color, and it's going to be Xereus Purple. So this is the color that I want to reach. Maybe at the end I will apply a little bit of Naggaroth Purple, but I don't think so. I think it's too dark, and I want to not to use the same purple as in the trousers. And now we have to work to make all these transitions softer. So I'm taking now the pink, Screaming Pink, and I'm doing again very wet on the transition part. Applying it very wet on the transition zone. I will go higher. So I want to have more purple. This darker color, I will start from the darker part. I will go up. Then I will take the purple by the pink. I will go up. I will take the orange. This is quite a laborious work, but it's the best way to do any transition is by blending them, wet blending them. This. Let's take some lighter orange. As you can see now I'm going quite high with the darker colors. So we have to be careful that we keep everything in the right positioning. Take water. We'll reinforce the purple at the extreme. We'll let it dry to see how it looks like. This is how this will look like. Now I need to see that the back is looking correctly, okay? Take this is not in the right position. Back to the front. You want to make all the parts of the lid the same positioning. And the edge should be lighter. The edge is not looking bad. Now we do the back. Make sure the back is correctly done. Here I need to make sure that these colors are more solid. So as you can see, this is the way I do the transition from very light yellow to the purple at the extreme. And I will repeat the same for the three other parts, for this side and for this part. So just finish this and I will do a close-up of how this is looking like. Here it's not as well blended as the front, so I need to work a little bit more to blend it better. So this is how it's looking like, this part, and I will do the same on the other part. On this one here, I will do the same on the other one in the other side, and I will do the same here on this front yellow part. So yeah, I will repeat the same operation that you can see. As you can see, it's taking a lot of time here. I still need to do a little bit better transition, but this is how it's working. So you work. Sorry that I just. So you need to keep working, and yeah, it's the best way I find for me to do the transitions. It's multiple layers, very watered, with a lot of water, and sometimes I use water because water is helping to make the borders and less solid, and helps a lot on what is the way to do the blending. So this is how it's looking like. Sorry, it went out of camera. And yeah, and I will be doing the other parts, and I will be back once the other parts are done. So this transition is done here and here. Once this is assembled, this will go like that. So now what I will do is I will start working on the legs. Here I will do, and I will work on the diamond pattern. I see that I did a little bit, so I will reapply the Naggaroth Purple to be sure that I have a thin layer and uniform. And yeah, I will start working on the pattern. So one side I will do this deep purple combined with pink, and the other side I will do the same combined with the blue. So I will use the colors that I used to do the masquerade pattern, but I will only use one of the colors in each leg. So I will start this leg, and I will use the Temple Guard blue. And here is going to be tricky because the starting point is not easy. So I will start on this leg here, and I will try to make first a triangle here to help me. We need quite a nice brush to do that. So what I will do, I will also keep doing the run turn. Though most likely this part will be covered, I will do the pattern here anyway because it's helping me to have the pattern under control and have the positioning of the diamonds under control. So I will keep doing this. Because here at the back we have to put some okay, that's the next one. And let's keep turning. And now I will go down in the leg. I will do the same here, and the idea is we start building up the diamond pattern. And I will keep doing that. You can see it requires some brush control. Okay. Here we have to be very careful that we don't dirt the cloth. Then we have to imagine that there is another diamond here. We will something like that, and we put an extra diamond here. Okay,